wrong person. Hey.
Hello, everybody.
Welcome.
It's that time again. I'm having like feel like a muscle contract in my
She having a
side.
spasm.
Yeah. Oh, shoot.
Ooh, shoot.
Yeah, I was just laughing and messed my side up. Anyway, thanks for joining again. It's us two.
I'm gonna sage. We need the sage.
Sonia White here.
I'm Joy.
And you know, this is our weekly live on YouTube, Empower Yourself TV, where we're hoping to make a difference in helping people to transition from where they are to where they want to be, as far as feeling better, looking better, living better. So our main focus is what we ingest, diet, lifestyle, but also the mindset, and just incorporating different activities that's going to support higher vibration living. So today we want to talk a little bit about getting back to the old, a little bit of the old.
Take it back to the old school.
Yeah, a little bit of the old way of doing things. Because a lot of us were so far removed. And the old meaning, that disconnection we have.
We needed sage, y'all. Sorry. I'm saging our little space.
Reconnecting back to a little bit of, I want to say a little bit, but going back to nature, for lack of a better word, the old way of thinking and the more enriching way of doing things. Earlier I was saying to Joy is that a lot of people are buying homes, and particularly women. We buy kitchen, we buy backyard, we buy space. Mm-hmm. But I want to say, okay, much of us not even utilizing the space. We buy it with the intention of entertaining and for when people come over. And if we think about the things we do daily, are we actually even most of us not using the kitchen. Mm-hmm. You think about how crucial
the bathroom either.
That's a good point because of what we're eating. But kitchen is like the gut of the home. That's the intestinal tract of the home. That's where all of us congregate together around food, and I think we need to go back to that. We have deviated. And I know that if you're not really part of preparing your food, you have no idea what you're buying. So you kind of leave your health and your well-being up to somebody else. And not only that, it's not just the food per se, it's who is cooking the food.
Yeah, you gotta think about their energy.
What's the energy that's around the food? When you pick up this stuff, what's that type of environment when you pick up the food? I'm hoping that it's an environment like home, but that's not true.
Because people are just working. They have jobs just because they got to pay the bills. It's not something that they really love, and that they bring that type of energy into. It's like, oh, I gotta get through the day. Let me just get through it. Yeah. It's not, I don't know.
They're not vested in it. And I do think when people love to cook, their food tastes differently.
Totally different.
Yeah.
And that's why we can share recipes all day long, but depending on that energy, even for me, because I'm a little bit of a perfectionist. So like when I cook, I have this energy, especially if it's for a whole lot of people. And then like if it's just for me and Willis, I do great. But like if I'm having to cook for like a whole 5 or 6 people, I'm nervous as I don't know what, because all I want to do is make it great. So if I got that expectation, it just throws my whole energy off. So it's not gonna taste as good if I'm just preparing for just me and him. I feel it every time. It never turns out right. But I'll be all up in my head. So, if you think about that, when people just like, oh, I gotta get to this job and and it's food involved, like they should be taking it serious, you
Mhm.
know. But that's not the way it
Call us
is.
cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs,
Yeah,
but we do believe in that other side
we do.
where, the energy with which you prepare your food, the environment with it, that it is exposed to does get transmitted. Like we say, it's information transmitted into what we prepare. So the kitchen is one, food is one, excuse me. But also outdoors. We buy outdoors for the kids to go in the yard. A lot of us, like me, the kids not home. Well, they're grown, but it's just sitting there. We can't go out there with our little chair and just breathe in. So everybody's locked up in the house.
Mm-hmm.
We come from work, which is enclosed with air that is not in and out because all the windows are closed and you're in there for 8, 9,
With the
10, some
air
people
conditioner
24
running.
hours. And then you go into your car, it's enclosed again. Then you go into the store, it's all this contained environment all the time. Then you can't wait to get into the house that's contained again. So there's such those major hours so disconnected from our natural habitat, which
Like
is
the sun.
the sun, the
Like we need the
oxygenation. And I didn't have
sun.
appreciation. I grew up in Jamaica,
Ah.
and I should have been more into going to the country, doing more beaching. I mean, because I had it, I didn't appreciate it. I know I
Mm-hmm.
have such an appreciation for it. I try to spend time in the sun, to just lay around, to walk barefooted outside, you
I've
know.
been sunbathing since I was 5. And all the white people was like, "What is she doing?" I didn't know at the time, but I've always gravitated to the sun. They're like, "You're already brown. You don't need the." But I didn't know that was giving me life.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, but I've been
yeah,
doing that since I was 5.
yeah. And whether or not we like it, there's a that type, because I do my walks. I try my best to be outside now,
Mm-hmm.
and I hate when it's cold. I can't get
I don't
outside
like
because
it
I have,
either.
I'm no longer. Now I understand it's the inclusivity of the entire thing. That this awareness you get, like it's not just in the house that you just want to go out there and watch the butterfly. And
Mm-hmm.
if now we
Hear the
have the animals, we're
birds.
bringing the animals inside, which is okay. But I really believe, like, I have a little cat there, my kid's cat, and I'll take him out in the sun because the enclosure, I don't think it's healthy.
It's not.
I just our disconnection from the outside does contribute to our ill health. I am convinced of
I
it.
mean, now the animals is getting like diabetes and
All
like
of our diseases and our sickness and
cause they
cancer and
domesticated.
yeah, it's not. I don't think it was naturally. It's naturally for us, so we cut ourselves off from that. And I think, I know we're evolving, and this is what it is, but we can create another reality
Mm-hmm.
if we understand how important our connection is. Because even now, with what's going on with this whole thing, our disconnection from people, we're on Zoom a lot, we're not
Mm-hmm.
engaging with each other, we're not
And the
hugging.
TV.
Yeah, hugging. No, we're spending more time watching TV. I mean, I've given up TV. That's one of the things that COVID was a
It just
blessing for me.
helped you with the
Now
TV.
I realize, man, I don't even wanna. Now I can dictate and determine what is it I watch. But as soon as anything go off that's going to bring me south, I'm like, it's not even on in the house really,
That's good.
because the
Yeah.
kids they're on the phone,
Yeah.
so I don't know what it is. And I'm kind of like, I'm on the phone, it's Instagram and YouTube, but I'm kind of more calculated in what is it I focus on. But because you sit with the TV, then by the time you look, it's 8 hours and you're
No, it's
sitting down.
gone. Yeah.
I mean,
Time.
it's such a
Yeah.
stealer
Whoa.
of time, and that's the only commodity we have that we'll never get back.
Mm-hmm.
We need to invest. That is something that needs to be appreciated more. But to the point of, I know people buy a swimming pool at their house. Nobody using the swimming pool. Now they're spending money on the swimming pool. I'm like, why why aren't you? Or you live by the beach, or even if you live in an apartment, there are people live in an apartment. You can walk.
Mm-hmm.
Just make that be a part of your commitment to self, in raising your vibration energetically, you
And
know.
and get back to what you were saying. I think I cut you off about how we are not like gathering and hugging and shaking hands,
Mm-mm,
and people
mm-mm.
are so scared that they gonna cough or sneeze
Yeah,
on you.
yeah.
That
But
yeah.
that's part of for
Mm-hmm.
me, I just feel there's more to it than we're so scared of dying, which I understand. That's unique to everybody. We don't want to leave too quickly. We don't. I think it's more the pain. I don't know if people are scared of death. I think it's more the fear of the unknown and just the separation. Because now I appreciate what death is. It's not you're absent from the body, but you're never gonna, you live on.
Mm-hmm.
But that you really need part of the environment and part of the outdoors is people.
Mm-hmm.
you know I remember I was listening to a guy and I was talking about, there are certain groups of people where they are 14. It used to be where the grandma and the parents and everybody lived together, and then
Mm-hmm.
slowly but surely you offload the grandparents, and then you offload the parents, and then now it's individual. Everybody have their own
On a little
room.
click.
Yeah.
It's like
you
everybody's
oh,
in
you're
their little
in your
click.
own world. And
Mm-hmm.
I don't necessarily think that because we don't want to be bothered. Everybody, everything is a bother now. You
Mm-hmm.
know, everybody is a bother. Everybody you can cut off and disconnect. And what I realize that all these people that you're trying to disconnect from and cut off for your own peace of mind, it's really aspects of yourself that you need to evolve from. Because obviously they're in your circle because you're attracting them. That's how I look at myself. When somebody's in it, I'm like, okay, what was it that I saw? Because there's must have been something that I put out there, or some conversation that I had that caused that. It's like even on social media when I'm writing stuff, and sometimes I'm like, okay, what is it? What's my intention here? What am I trying to do? Am I trying to have people feel like what they're saying is stupid, or to say, to bring my goal is awareness. But sometimes I listen to these things and I'm like, I know people are not thinking. So if I post this, what do I expect in return? Because it's not something that elevate. So it's gotta be, and people don't want to feel like they're wrong, or feel bad, or feel judged, or feel criticized, including myself. That's just natural. So is this gonna make them feel judged, feel criticized, feel the need to defend? And if that's the case, then what comes back to me, I initiated it. It just didn't happen out of the blue.
Mm-hmm.
I must have taken the first step towards that. So, just be more conscious of the actions towards higher vibration stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And that comes back to, okay, the people in your circle. Because up until now, I have to say, I used to be more of a hypocrite in terms of not speaking my truth, not saying how I feel, because I was I'm still a peacemaker. Don't want to ruffle the feathers. But what that has done is it created a reality that I was miserable in. And I
Mm-hmm.
can't blame nobody. I'll hear people say, oh, people toxic and people are haters. And I'm like, people just don't come around and they're toxic and haters. The fact that they're haters and toxic means that something in you is like magnet, is magnetizing that type of energy. Whether
So
it's
you're
a
gonna keep getting more of that,
exactly, it
more of
gotta
the
be a
toxic.
latent part of yourself that you're unaware of, that you are emanating vibrationally without even knowing. So that's how I start to live my life now. When things coming at me, I'm like, where in all of that I need to look at, because something in me is vibrating. And this is why I know that, so because bees only go towards honey, or like only attract like. So if I am coming at you, it means that something about me being attracted to you, that is resonating. It would
Mm-hmm.
not resonate if there's not something around you in your energy, or words, or thinking, or latent thinking that is pulling that. Or you are here to teach me something, or to answer a prayer or a desire that I want, and I can only get to that prayer or the answer to that prayer by figuring out why did you present yourself. And that's how I look at life. But I'm deviating. Let's
Mm-hmm.
get
You
back
are.
to, yeah, let's just get back to
Just how do we get
reconnection.
back to
Yeah.
nature? Yeah. My thing is, I had just made like 10 little notes here. So, one of mine I'd like to just kind of discuss. I ain't got to stay on it long, but as far as like gardening, you know, start your own garden. And I just want to say, like, it's better to eat fresh because I know we're eating a lot of like processed stuff. And I understand, you have to transition, but just try not to stay on that processed stuff, and utilize, like Sonya said, utilize your kitchen, and cook all the stuff. It's so rewarding to be able to go out to your garden and pick that, and it tastes different. Like when I had my tomatoes and stuff, like last year, that was the first time I had ever planted anything. And the
Or pots,
tomato,
if you don't have a yard,
yeah,
you
you
can
can
get
do
pots.
pots.
You can grow a little thyme, or those
Mm-hmm.
things that grow easily. And there are ways, information now where you don't need a yard. People
No,
creating
I
garden
mean,
in
and
their
we
house.
don't, we don't. Our gardens in we got like a box that we had a guy created because we have clay here, so everything doesn't grow good in clay. So we have pots and different stuff, that we started our garden with. But it's such a beautiful thing to be able to fix a salad, and it tastes way different than from if you buy it from the store. But I would suggest, start there and kind of wean yourself off of those process. We're not saying not to go to those things because I think in one of the videos we recommended like gardening and then it's a big thing about that whole beyond, and I mean I wouldn't recommend it, but I mean if you gotta come off the meat, I say hey, go for it. Just don't stay there. But especially if you're trying to heal, and if you're really like something's going on with your system, and you got diagnosed with something that's real serious, I would say definitely
Leave
none of
that
that.
up.
Just do plants, do the fruits and the vegetables, and the herbs, and heal yourself. But I put garden, and then too, and I was like, I got to thinking about my grandmother. They had all these different remedies and stuff. When you got a cold, she would put you in the tub and like just let you sit in there. And I don't know, she had her little stuff that she put down in the tub with you, and then she wrap you up, and then she put that Vicks on on your chest, and next thing you know, it's like you could breathe and you could just feel stuff opening up. She like had you up in like a little burrito and stuff, but they had their little things, their little remedies. I'm not saying not to go to the doctor, but
You don't
let's
have to
just
go for everything.
not
Nowadays, we go for
everything. We go for
everything.
everything. My little pinky toe, or my
Yes.
eye. You don't have to do that. And of course, I would say try to get to the point where you don't even have to need them for anything. My thing, what I've learned through this whole 4-year journey, is that doctors are good for trauma. If I would go to them for that. But other than that, I would try to do everything. I'd have my own little remedies. Like we got our clay, because the clay, we can use that for different stuff. I mean, I've packed my tooth and my husband's tooth. He had a toothache, and it took all the infection out of there. I mean, and it didn't happen overnight. That's another thing. Like, I feel like we want stuff quick. But we had to keep doing it over and over and over
That's
every
how the
day,
body works.
being consistent. But we want that quick pill, that Tylenol or ibuprofen just real quick so that we can move on to the next. And that was another thing that I put down on my list, was being present. I mean, I talk to some people's on the phone, and you're trying to talk to them. They're not even listening to you. So just be in the present, the present moment, like right here, like right now. But we have so many distractions, like Sonya was saying, the TV and the cell phone. And even if you can just cut back just a little bit at a time, I'm not saying like I still watch TV, but not like I used to. And what broke me was when we went to Jamaica. And when I came back home, I was like, oh my God, I had such a good trip and I don't need this TV. It was so many things, just sitting with yourself. You don't realize those are when the answers come. Like, your body talks to you when you just take a moment just to
Yeah.
sit with yourself and have some quiet. Like you said, even if you go out in your backyard, listen to the birds, everything that's just,
People have
yeah.
porches and verandas, and they have a little balcony, and they have these little spaces. And I mean, we're just looking at it.
Mm,
Nobody's in there. We're in
nobody's.
front with TV in the bedroom, or
Mm-hmm.
TV in the living room, or TV
Every
in the kitchen.
room.
And it's just something that's just stealing our time, stealing our attention. It's outside of yourself. You
Mm-hmm.
gotta bring everything back home. I'm guilty
Mm.
with the phone because I'm utilizing phone for business now, and I'm on social media. But sometimes that's something I need to work on, and I've started to work on it.
Mm-hmm.
After a certain hour, just leave it, don't have it in my bed or whatever. It's because it's like I used to have the note on it. If somebody texts,
Mm-hmm.
bing,
Mm-hmm.
bing,
Let
bing.
you
And
alert.
subconsciously, it started to puppeteer me. So I put
Mm-hmm.
off all the ring stuff. And then now I'm realizing once I have that close to me, so now, and I was saying to Joy this week that one of the things that has done, because I was laying in the bed and I need to master this meditation thing. I have not been successful
I
at
ain't
it
either.
because I really struggle with concentration.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm thinking a lot of us study with that,
Mm-hmm.
struggle with that. Where does that come from? And now with everything stealing, well, more decent is like we're like so sensitized to we're already in motion, as you know, everything is moving, but no, it's worse. It's like 2 seconds. I was reading this thing on Instagram, is that people attention when you're posting anything, don't make it be more than something another seconds,
Mm-hmm.
because people just
Yeah,
keep
the attention spans
their
is not
but I'm
long.
like, it's not, we aren't like that. We're in a system where you're constantly being programmed to switch, not to be in the moment. I was in my bed and I say, you know what, for 5 minutes I just want to focus on what is going on in my body, the blood flowing, the heart beating, all of that stuff for 5 minutes. And I've taken it upon myself to start to do that so I can create a new, because concentration and the distraction now, it's go for me, it just feel like I'm going off, I'm being derailed.
Mm-hmm.
But it's nothing not doing that to me. I'm allowing it
Mm-hmm.
to do it to me.
To
So now I have to
to.
take back my power from that
Mm-hmm.
social media thing too, and then figure out, okay, how is it I'm gonna organize myself to do that? So all it, if you're doing 3-4 hours on that, I could use an hour and go outside,
Mm-hmm.
or take a bath, lay in my bath. And
Mm-hmm.
music is another thing that raises
It
vibration.
does.
Find some good soothing music
Mm-hmm.
outside, inside. I'm big on music. I'm
I
cooking
am
with,
too.
yeah,
I
cooking with
love me some
music.
Bob. I
I'm in
start
the
with
kitchen
Bob
with
pretty
music.
much every
Yeah, if
morning.
I'm not listening to something that's raising my vibration in terms of thought provoking, then I'm having my music on, because it does. If you feel disappointed or low or depressed, I
Mm-hmm.
had something major this morning with me and I didn't do well at it. I was like 2 seconds and I'm out of that vibration. I'm like music on. I'm get normally I would eat.
Mm-hmm.
I just run go get some carb or
Get you some
some sugar.
chocolate.
Girl, no, it's like no. I have to find a substitution that supports what is it I'm trying to do. But get back to what you're saying.
Let's see. So we talked about, and then you, well, it kind of ties into this, like even the process, like stuff like like you said, the sugar and the junk food that messes with our attention spans. And that's a big problem.
Coffee.
Yeah, the coffee,
Drinks.
what is
Just
it?
the sugars.
The Red Bull
All
and
the sugars.
all of that stuff is like, and that's why we can't focus.
Mm-hmm.
So if we could just cut, out and do like some fresh juice. I had just bought a juicer, and just even the concentrated juice that's on the shelves, like even stay away from that, and just start juicing, or get you a citrus juicer and do some oranges and some grapefruit, and do that to charge you. That's gonna get you going. I know a lot of people probably don't know that, but you start your day off with that, that's gonna help you. That's gonna take you through your day. So what else did I write? And I talked about a little bit about herbs. And I know, like, this ain't really my thing. I think Sonia makes a lot of her stuff, but I try to support a lot of, like, Black businesses. Y'all probably see that on my Instagram a lot. But even if you don't feel like that's your thing, you can, order stuff. If it's some type of herb or seasoning or something, just instead of going buying this stuff like at Walmart and, just this, because you got to be careful about what you put on your body, like your deodorant and, your lotions, because you take, your skin is the biggest organ, so it's taking, so you got to be careful, like all the way down to like your detergent. So, support businesses and buy those things if you don't feel comfortable like making them. Like I said, Sonia makes a lot of her stuff that, she uses, but me, I guess I'm lazy in that way.
But you are very particular about who you buy from.
Yeah, I'm
and
funny
where you
about
buy
that.
from.
Yeah.
So, and it's all about the energy with which. So I see the stuff you buy. It's definitely like if you were preparing it.
Right.
Yeah, with me, I've like simplified a lot. I don't go to the store. I don't buy perfume. I use essential oils and natural oils. I use a vitamin E, the almond oil, the jojoba oil. I don't, for me, shea butter, but I'll have a little coconut oil. I just try and stay with the stuff that I know my body can. So if I want to, and then that's one of the things why I changed that too, was I was reading this thing about pheromones. Your body naturally emit a certain smell like the animals do that attract the opposite sex or attract people around, because sometimes people come around you and it's not just the vibration, but it's also the senses. So if I was because I was wearing all these different perfumey stuff that I just didn't want to send the wrong messaging. I don't want to attract certain, give off a certain smell that's going to attract anybody that's, I don't know if you understand what I'm saying. Just very intentional about my smells. Even now with the food, let me tell you, so when you start to eat plant-based and you're diligent with it and you're patient with yourself, you're going to lose your desire for a lot of stuff.
We'll go away.
I just never knew some of the stuff I'd crave for. I don't ever, because one of the things that is my thermometer now is smell. You see, if I eat anything, I'm a poo smell. It like derail me. I'm like, no. So when I'm sitting down and I'm going to eat stuff, yes, I'm like, I'm not going to have that. Because the thinking about tomorrow morning, how am I going to, I said, no. It's rather I don't do it now so I don't have to feel that feeling. So I'm now heightened to feeling bad. I don't want to feel bad, especially if I know that I'm the one that's causing it.
Right.
You know?
And that's what happened to me with the whole impossible thing. And I was excited because I'm like, oh, this is,
Impossible Burger.
Yeah, because, it was something, because I've always done like lettuce wrap. So, I would never do bread. So I'd always do a wrap. And of course it wasn't the same because I grew up eating hamburgers all the time, But it's like, when that came out, I was like, oh my God, and it's plant-based. And they was talking about it has like, and I should have been disturbed, but at the time, because I was so new, when they was talking about like the beet juice represented the blood, I should have been done then. But now I see that and I'm just like, ugh, that's nasty. But before I was like, oh, I can't wait to taste this because, it was removing. Because I was like, I miss
The
my hamburger.
substituting
Yeah,
the
I miss
burger
my
for another
hamburger.
burger.
So when I did try it, I'm trying to tell you because, like I said, when I started my cleansing, I was like there every day, like cleansing. So when I took a bite of that, and the next day, I mean, it wasn't even my poo. It was like my underarm smelled like I ate a Big Mac. I mean, I couldn't stand myself. And I feel like the more that I try to put soap on my washcloth and I was like, why ain't it leaving?
Because it was oozing out.
It was so disgusting. And I told my husband, I said, we might think that tastes good, but something's off with that. No. I don't know what it is that they putting in there. They not telling everything. I said, this ain't right. So that's why I say, just because of experience, I'm not saying I haven't tasted and haven't ate any of that stuff, but my arms was kicking. And normally I can go without deodorant, but I don't even know if the deodorant would have helped. It was that bad. I'm serious. So yeah. Had to tell that little story, but yeah, leave if you can't leave the impossible.
That's not my indicator.
And I'm just like, oh, and that's why I'm so big on why can't we just stick to the plants and the vegetables? But I understand you went so long thinking, the animal, that's what we're supposed to be eating.
Can't have enough protein.
Yeah, you gotta have protein. You need the protein. Yeah.
You need the iron. You need all the stuff that they tell you.
There's a lot
that you need. Now I know.
Yeah, it's like you don't need none of that. I know so many people that can build muscle just eating the vegetables, and they look just as good as they did.
They even
when
look.
They
I
look
saw
better.
This guy today. I'm like, is that really vegetable? Or whatever plant, or even sometimes when I buy, because I bought this plant protein last month and I was having it, and I'm like, I had it in my strawberries and stuff. It wasn't as stinking, but I didn't smell, because now I'm like so anal now about my smell. Not for anybody else, but just for me.
Just for you, yeah.
The fact that I feel I'm decaying or I'm putting something in my body that is in a position to help, because I just love my body now, so that I just don't want to hurt her.
Right.
I don't want to do anything that compromise her. So every time I think about, I'd be like, especially my arm. If my arm feel, and I'm not like kicking, stinking, but just because your body naturally give off a scent. So I just don't want to cloud up my scent with anything foreign, so it can do the attraction with people, to people, or to whatever, this bigger universe, to get me in the place of divine peace and divine protection and divine provision. I just feel like we're not in a cocoon. It's all of it. So, and that's what food does. When you get on the vegetation, guys, and you're patient with yourself, you're gonna lose the desire, because now the body is actually recalibrating to what it should be. And it doesn't need a lot. And it doesn't need all. It's just like the same thing with the super constant simple. Gorging. And I used to suffer from that. And sometimes if I don't watch myself, if I'm not mindful, I'll be like gorging myself because I'm, subconsciously thinking about something else. So, I'm not where I want to be, but there is, and it's just all encompassing. It's a lot of stuff that we have to work with. But the first thing that I think we should do, outside of the food and the exercise and things we have spoken about, is to reconnect to our natural habitat. I really believe the natural habitat, which is where we get information from the food, but from the air, from the sun, from the earth, being out there. I do believe we get these downloads. We get these unction. We get these things just heightened because it's slower. If you think about, if you had to do the distinction, what is it that's in the world? The constantly moving and the fast and the impatient and getting from point A to point B and want this thing like tomorrow. And over here, which is nature, if we pay attention, everything is just easy.
It's just easy and it's slow. Like, everything slows
There's no
down. It's no
rush.
rush, no hurry. Like, and that goes back to us talking about being in the present, being in the moment. Because I feel like we're going here, going. And so, I'm like a tortoise. I don't get in no hurry. Like, I just don't operate like that. Like, something bad would happen if I got in a rush. Like, I probably ended up breaking my leg or doing something.
Accident.
Like,
And that
I
most people
can't.
who have accidents, that's what
I,
happened. They consciously
I'm
are
operate.
somewhere or
Yeah.
their body. That is my indication. When people meet in an accident, I'm like thinking, what else is going on
Mm-hmm.
that causes this? Because obviously, out of either you're rushing from here to there or something, it's always where you're not paying attention, you're not in the moment, the anxiety, the stress, it's always initiated from something else, and then you end up meeting an it's like a stop to say, Sonia, checks and balances.
Right.
You need to calm down. You need
Mm.
to take a five. You need to this direction you're going is gonna lead you to death, because the accident, when you do have an accident, is an alert that you could lose your life.
Right. So
Everything in
wake
this
up
law,
call.
in this world, is about quick and impatience and fast, and then where does that lead? The fast and the quick, look at where it's leading us. Perpetuation of
To
illness,
death.
sickness, and death.
We're headed to death.
Yeah, when
And
you're
it's
rushing, where you're
sad.
headed to? Because what is ahead of you other than age, other than death? Slow it down, and I'm speaking to myself. Slowing it down a little bit more, appreciating a little bit more, being more grateful, all of these nice words that promote that what the universe and nature has, because the sun do the same thing every day. It's not in no rush. And the earth does the same thing every day with the plants, and the water does this. It's so predictable, but it has it
The ease, like,
shines,
the ease and
ease
flow.
and the flow, and I think that is where we have messed up.
And I guess one more last thing, because we talked about quiet time and spending time together, being in the present. I do kind of want to talk about us women having babies. That's kind of dear to my heart. We need to get back to actually birthing. I mean, we had our babies at home years ago, and now there's water births. Like Sonia talked about earlier, we just have been taught not to believe in ourselves. Like, we don't need, I'm not saying like not to have a nurse or a doctor deliver your child, but it would be kind of nice if we would go back to that, because you can do that without them. And I'm just saying, like, you can do it. Like, believe in yourself. It can happen. And then I feel like we need to nurture more of the women that are like expecting, because, you're bringing this life into the world. So, there comes the breastfeeding and the proper time to feed the child. After the, child has all his teeth, then you transition the child from the breast milk onto the, the food, and you'll be in your kitchen using your processor, fixing the food for your child to eat. Like, let's get back to that. But we can have our children at home. Like, I'm telling you, maybe you might want to have a midwife, but you could really birth that child by yourself. I know people right now to this day that have done it. And they didn't have one doctor. They just did their research, got the information. The information is out there, you all. And that's so important, because we supply these children with everything that they need, because so many, like we talked about last week, there's so much like psoriasis and eczema and
Ear infection
ear
and
infections and
asthma.
asthma.
Yeah.
It's so many things that, and all that stuff can be corrected, but you got to realize the child's pulling from you. So you're like hurting that child. So we need to like clean ourselves up and prepare for these children to come to Earthside, you know? And that's just real big and important. I guess we could talk about that a little later, but I just wanted to tell people, if there's any women out here that's expecting, you can have that child by yourself with a midwife. You know, you don't have to go to the hospital. My thing is, like, I just want people to get away from there, unless, like I said, it's trauma. That's just my opinion. You don't listen to me. But that's just my opinion on that.
And even when you're raising them, because in hindsight, looking back, I could have done, if I was this aware and enlightened, done more nature stuff with my kids. My kids don't really have an appreciation for nature.
Yeah,
Because
they
I
do need
didn't
to be
cultivate
outside.
that, they're out there for sports, but you'd
Right.
never catching them walk in the park.
Right.
I said to my son, take off the socks in the house. He has socks on 24/7. Outside and walk on the grass. He's,
Yeah.
he's like stones. And I mean, everything is just so, I don't know. And I mean, I should have done better. I did the best. I wasn't
Yeah,
aware.
usually, yeah.
Wasn't aware. But in my next go around, when I have grandchildren, it's going to be where you're teaching them just to be, to sit, be quiet. They don't have to be. You have to have a gadget, or you
Right.
have to be doing. You don't have to be doing. Just sit down. Let's talk. Barefoot on the floor. Appreciate the hiking, appreciating the bugs. I mean, most of the kids scared of bugs, scared of this. I'm like, what have we done to the children? And then we glorify all the other things that's robbing them of their life force. You give them a little thing and they're on it, gadget, and they're on it for 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 12
Way
hours,
too long.
being sucked into that. And then you wonder why they're not social, or why they won't talk to you, because you have developed this habit in them of isolation, of being in their own world. And then that create, when they get older, this disconnection from people, from nature, from their beingness. So we're creating a lot of these other issues that we see, issues with, the root being isolation, with suicide, with drugs, with alcohol, with smoking. And just think, I'm on social media, just look at, I mean, if I wasn't of the persuasion I am, I'd think that I am so flawed with all the physical, people aren't doing what we're doing anymore, which is cleansing and doing exercise and doing the old school stuff. You have enough money, or you go try to get the money, and you just go to a doctor and they do that for you. We have all these machines, because everybody want it ready made.
They want it right tomorrow.
You just want to go into a machine, press, and I think we probably will get to that. You just press what bust size you need.
Yeah, exercise boobs over
what
here.
Waistline you need.
Just hit a
what
button.
boobie you need. What hair you need, if you need a straight nose. And they just put, like what we see in these movies, just put them into this time machine. And nobody wants to get old no more. I don't want to get old, but
So
the more I am appreciation.
Putting
That,
injections in the lips and the nose
whatever
and the
the
cheeks.
stage I am, I'm just gonna love on myself the way it is, because this is the pureness of that, the appreciation of that. Because it no matter how old you're going, how young you're going to try to be, eventually you're going to, because outside is young, but inside is decaying, is old, inside is aging. So eventually you're going to pass on. So that is temporal. And I'm not saying don't do what you need to do to enhance yourself, but don't be the point where that is going to think. That's what's happening to a lot of young people now. Wanting this image of I mean, it kills me sometimes when I look at look at how sad and depressing, and what is it we're doing to the youth. They're not doing it, they're not actually deliberately doing it. It's just that these people want this perfection, or this image of what they think is perfection, because we were fed that. And we just want to go, because you know what it is? It's not about the body and the breast. What you really want is somebody to feed your love tank, to tell you how beautiful you are, how shapely you are, how young you are. Women love that. You know, you're 50 and you want to be told you're 30. It's not the 30 and the 50 you want. It's how it makes you feel. We're after the feeling. We get a
The
new
feel
car
good.
because it makes us feel
Feel
good.
good.
You know, the kids do well in school, it makes us feel good. Somebody said, you look so young, you look so vibrant, it makes you feel good. You have such a great shape, it makes you feel good. You know, I mean, you whatever the accreditation and the accumulation, and it's not the stuff you're really after. When you buy a house, it's not what you want. It's what people that come and congregate and you're entertaining does for you. It makes you feel good. So everything we do, we're really after feel good. And nothing is wrong with that. That's how we're wired. But
Just like they tell us money makes you feel
yeah,
good.
money makes, I know people saying, okay, it does provide stuff that alleviates stresses, and you know it's crucial. You need money. I'm not saying no, you don't. But excuse me, what we're doing now to go you know, at the expense of other stuff. I've known two people, that women that went under the knife for liposuction personally, and they never came out. They never made it, or some kind of figure surgery. I'd love to do that, but I'm like, why? What am I saying? I've given birth to two kids, and I got two C-section. No, looking back, I probably wouldn't do that now. You know, but then you're not aware that, because no, there's more money in C-section. C-section is like $50,000-$60,000.
When they know daggone well that person can actually
They can
give
actually
birth.
give birth.
That's what we was
So
built to
that's what
do.
money has
So
done, the drive for money. So now we have a system where, okay, how can we maximize our efforts to create more money? And now it's in the health industry. Which is why insurance go up on us, because when you go and you have, you know, they'll tell you, Joy, you have this and you need to come for this, and then they tack on something else. Even I never used to go to the dentist. No, every time you go to the dentist, you need an x-ray. Like nothing happened the last 6 months, and now it happened again, because you're figuring ways. I mean, and we're part of the problem, figuring ways how to add on and tack on, especially when you have insurance. You know, something just
And
off
that's
with
such
that.
a lie
And
too,
people are
because you
saying to
paying,
me,
but you paying into that.
but
So because they're always like, oh, well, my insurance pays for it, but you pay for that out of every check, whether you get paid every week or every 2 weeks, you're paying into that.
yeah.
So how is that? Like, I don't understand.
I'd love to get back to where your word is your word, and you treat people the way you want to be treated. You know, where you level the playing field, where these people aren't better than you or in a higher class than you because of your accreditation, because of what the world says, you know, is worthy or is honorable. Because everybody is a genius. Everybody came here being a 10. And then they come in a world telling you that no, you're a
down to a
2.
2.
No, you're a 1. Some of us in minus. We're not even at 0. And we believe that crap. Everybody came in here as a 10. Where did we get where some people are 10 and I feel like a 2?
Well, it goes back to when I was in grade school. My teacher, my third grade, I think it was my third grade teacher, she made me feel like, because, you know, I process a little slower. And I'm not mad about that. Like I just said earlier, I don't get in a hurry. But they thought because, you know, I couldn't keep up with where the other kids was, you know, where they were at. So she made me feel like I was stupid, you know. So it starts. I mean, some of it starts in the school system.
Yeah.
But it made me, and it affected me, you know. And I still like been working through that, like right to this day. Like I'm like, oh my God, I didn't realize that bothered me that bad. Because it used to bother me. I'm like, is something really wrong with me? And then you made me feel appreciative because, you know,
The style is different.
Because you was just like,
Your
yeah,
way
Joy
of
don't get in no hurry. I was like, no, and I've always been like that ever since I was little.
Yeah, but it speaks to that we all have people around in your uniqueness, because you didn't create yourself. The
Mm-mm.
way your brain is wired, it was divine design.
Right. But coming from her, and she's a school teacher though.
Because she
Like
never known no
that's what I'm
better.
saying. Like,
You
why would she tell a child that?
because she don't have a clue. It's like the connect.
And they were trying to hold me back. So if it wasn't for my mom, I would have been held back. And my
Yeah.
mom's like, there's nothing wrong with her. We're around her 24/7. No, she's going to the next grade.
Yeah, but this world don't have appreciation for people who are
Yes, sad.
different, or who is not like them. Because what we're doing, we're looking for ourselves. She's
Mm.
saying that to you because she wants you to think and be like her.
Mm.
Like, Joy, come up. And then what we do with difference is we criticize and judge and we downplay and we push down. I'm like, let me tell you, I want to just get away from that mindset. Because that's what we're struggling with. We're struggling with trying to fit in. I'm like, fit in with what? With who?
Right.
Who came up with
So,
this
yeah,
thing?
like this graph that we gotta
Yes.
go by this chart.
Yes. And then
Mm.
was like, I know for certain things, like now I understand. You see, you gotta know what the mindset is and how it is for you to want to. There's a certain element of fitting. Like I know even with what's going on with the whole situation with the cops, right? And black boys. And I think to myself, their imagery of what, because I'm yet to see all these things that happening to somebody who's in a suit. Or somebody, we have this thing to want to be unique, and then we present her because we gotta. It's almost like you have to learn the enemy, or learn, because the enemy is, and when I say enemy, I mean opposition, the other side. Because when you don't, it's almost like I said to my son, you gotta put things on your side. You have to be smart enough, because the visioning and the programming of what they see, and that is, you're coming up against that, whether we like it or not. But how to have your difference without creating a situation that you don't want to be in. Because if I see somebody that look a certain way based on my programming, because whether or not I like it, this is what what looking good is. That's in me. 24, 30, you're the waistline and the hair. How do you have a point of difference without being judged, where you're implicating yourself or you're creating situation for yourself? That, because I'm yet to see these cops put anybody in a suit. I don't see it. It's almost like you have the, so I'm figuring that's the vision of what they feel that is, because even when somebody who's accredited and they're established, once they look a certain way, then they judge them based on, I'm saying that to say your external does matter when you're trying. So you can't go there looking like, and don't expect that you're gonna attract something that you don't want to, because we have to understand this is the system, but how do we work with it in a manner not to sacrifice our uniqueness and what we are, so we can push ahead and not have stuff like I said to Blake, cut your hair, groom your hair, because you can have dreads and you look groomed. But sometimes you see some people and I'm like, you really look like, to them they're thinking, oh, you're not human. You don't value anything. You don't look like anything. Because to them, their perception is that you can't be thinking that anything about yourself if this is how you carry yourself. You don't smell good. You don't, because that's their way of what is it. So we got to conform because we don't have a world of our own. And create, while we're doing that, create an environment for ourselves to say, you know what, at least when I go out there, let me present myself in a manner that's not going to cause anybody to second guess or doubt where I'm on a defense, you know? So I guess what I'm saying is you gotta be wise too in your presentation because
Mm-hmm.
that's the reality.
Mm-hmm.
That's just the reality.
Mm-hmm.
But anyway, we went all over the place. But I know
I
the
know,
point
we
of
did
it is that
it.
it's hard sometimes to stick to the what is it we
Mm-hmm.
plan, but get
Mm-hmm.
back to because it changes. I don't think if I wasn't on plant based, I'll be
Well, I was
this
gonna
like
bring it up. I was like, what about all this stuff that is going on? Just think about if all the police was plant based.
well,
Would
probably.
it all this be going on?
I have
If
no.
they would clean their GI tract out.
I don't really. It's bigger than us, and I think it's bigger. Plant is a major part, but there's like so much. But just do your little part in
Mhm.
trying to self preserve.
And we need to cleanse, cleanse,
Yeah, we have
cleanse.
to clean
We
out.
gotta clean out, y'all.
I just know that that thing
That's a
work.
missing link, man. Nobody
The,
is talking about this. Nobody,
girl.
everybody's scared to talk about putting the enema bag up their ass. Well, I'm gonna talk about it, and
Yeah.
we I guess we being a little soft, but we getting to it because we're gonna start talking more about enema.
Yeah.
Like we've done coffee, I'm doing lemona right now. Which is lemons, fresh squeezed lemons juice in the distilled waters. Put that in your enema bag, and then there's what I say, coffee, lemonas, and the red clay, which me and Sonya do all the time. So and all there's garlic. You can also do garlic, and boy, you talking about them parasites running? They will run. They will pack up and move on.
There's
But it's
something to
so,
it,
but
guys.
it
There's
is.
something
It's
to it,
something
guys.
about cleaning that ass. Like, I mean, it cured. I mean, just in a week's time, I told y'all from our very first episode, the vertigo, the insulin resistance, the bottoms of my feet was it a
Yeah,
plantar,
plantar fasciitis. You
whatever that.
used to suffer with that.
Yeah, it was, and that vertigo was like all that stuff. I'm trying to tell y'all, when I did my enema, that stuff went away the first week. Never came back.
Mm-hmm.
Never had. I mean, I would have to miss work sometimes. So I couldn't even stand up. Somebody would have to drive me from point A to point B. I could not get in the car. So I'm trying to tell you, y'all, it's something about cleaning out that in the intestines. It's connected and it's important. So cleanse. I can't say cleanse.
I
No.
agree with you. I'm
Yeah.
right up. I'm like, right. I just think at the rate we're eating that stuff, my thing is, there's no way you're eating and you should smell. I
Mm-mm.
don't get it. No, I
And you should,
understand
and
it.
this eating and not pooping. And
Oh, that
we're
even
not
too.
concerned about that. You should be very concerned. If you're eating, say you eating 5 meals, you should be shitting all that out. Every time. You should be going to the bathroom. Every time you eat something, you should be pooping. But we're just like, oh, let's hold on to it. And then we get this so-called pandemic happens, and then everybody's hoarding up toilet paper. What are you hoarding up? You're not shitting. So I don't understand. But
Yeah.
you gotta poop. It's important.
I think we need to keep talking. I don't know if people are on it, but hopefully,
Hopefully everybody gets
people
them
will
an enema
get
bag.
what.
I would love, how people used to pass out certain things like for the homeless or whatever.
We
I
should
wish I
probably
could
do
just
that. Do
pass
like
out
an
enema
enema
bag.
drive.
Yeah.
Do like an enema bag drive because I drove past Burger King yesterday, right? And I was thinking, I used to go buy that stuff, but at the time I never had nobody. I wasn't around anybody to be saying, okay, there's another way to eat. Or because we used to think that I mean we know it's junk because we even call it junk food. They give it a name,
Yeah.
call it junk.
Junk.
Who is storing junk? We
Right.
don't store junk. We dispose of junk. You have a junk car, you put in at the junkyard.
Yard.
You have junk stuff in the house, junk furniture, you get rid of it.
Mhm.
But we are ingesting the junk
Mhm.
and we think it's fine.
We don't want to do better. It's almost like, no, don't tell me that. I want to continue to eat the junk.
I don't expect it to have a consequence. That is the consciousness that plant-based does get to you. You start to think more critically and you start to be more intentional. with the words. I mean, I never thought about it. I was thinking, I was buying, it tastes good, but I was buying the burgers when I passed it to them. I thought to myself, I was ingesting that thing, think it's food.
And it was
It
decaying,
is all,
rotting.
but we smell and we think it's
I know,
normal.
and we think, well, the next day we'll just get up and take a shower, and we're what's name, but that stuff is just circulating in your system, just
No,
circulating. It's all in the blood. Like we still funky, even though you don't wash and put water. You might as well just not even take a bath. Why are you even brushing your teeth?
excuse me, my nose is
Right.
bleeding. Yeah.
Like, why are you even like brushing your teeth? Like that's how bad it is.
Yeah.
So, and also too, I want to say this. I know we're already at our hour. I don't want to go too much longer, but we're at our 10th episode, y'all. Yay for that.
Yeah.
And I'm excited about that. I guess we need to do like a little applause. Yes, we're at our 10th episode. And I wanted to thank Willis and Amiri Ross, because if it wasn't for them,
Yeah. The possibility of this happening.
Yeah, so I want to thank both of you all for getting us to where we're at. So we're gonna
wrap it up.
I appreciate y'all for listening in, and you can always get to the do the replay. I'm sorry. So if you didn't get to make it tonight, you can always go back into Empire Yourself TV and do the replay.
Thank you all. Appreciate the tuning in. Remember to subscribe.
Yeah, subscribe.
So every time we come out with a new episode, you get an alert.
Subscribe and share, y'all. And pass it on. Tell some people to come to our YouTube channel and do the same thing. Subscribe and share.
And hopefully we're bringing some value to you guys. At least to open your thinking, your cranium, for you to start to think. And make steps towards, reclaiming your power and return to wellness. Because it's so possible, guys. It's so possible. And we're on the journey with you guys. Still transitioning. Still taking one step forward, two back. Don't want to paint a picture of you're going to ever reach to that place where you can just, put your guard down and don't work. There's no life like that.
You got to put in the work. And it's work, but it's worth it. Like all the results is like so worth it. I've never felt better than I have felt till right now. Like it's definitely worth it,
Anyway, till next time. Peace out.
All right. Ashe.
It's hot, so my nose is bleeding.
You have only you be cold.